Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to The Walking Dead, Phil's Recap and Review, Season 8, Episode 5, The Big Scary You. And I got a leather jacket. I don't have Lucille, but my nutsacks are not made of steel, Joe.
Thank God for you, Phil. Phil, thank God for you.
Thank God for you, Joe. Thank God we have for all of you. And not just that, thank God to everyone in the live motherfucking chat for joining us tonight. Thank you so much, but welcome everybody. We're going to talk about this episode of The Walking Dead, and I'm not alone as Joe Dirty Locks is back tonight. Joe, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on last week's episode and this week's. But if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Jump into the live chat if you're watching us live right now and share your thoughts in there with the motherfucking live chat, the greatest people in the world. Or if you're watching this later, share your thoughts in the comment section below or find us on the podcast. You can also leave us a voicemail tonight at 781-990-8509. Again, that's 781-990-8509. Let us know what you thought about this episode. And there's only 3 more episodes left. Somehow they gave us 13 extra minutes in this episode too. I'm not sure what that was all about. Wakey, eggs pancakey. I thought about starting off the show that way. This is 2 thin dick podcasters threading the needle with our thin
dicks.
Thin fucking dick. So I want to
I'm an expert needle threader, Phil.
You are. Yeah, I know that for a fact, Joe. I want to get a couple of things out of the way at the beginning here about things I liked or things I didn't like in this episode. But before we do that, Joe, I'm very curious. Well, I'll say this much, and maybe it will set Joe off here, but this was maybe my favorite Negan episode.
Oh my God, Phil, it was brilliant.
Wasn't it
every
brilliant?
second of this episode. I'm telling you.
It didn't you, Joe?
I'm telling you, right from the very beginning, I can't tell you how excited I am that right off the bat they showed us what happened before Rick knocked on the door.
Oh, that was exactly what I wanted to see.
Like, I've been wondering for 3 weeks now what was going on with these evil fucking people, you know? Right. So, like, before Rick came in, what was going through their minds? It had me on the edge of my seat through the whole episode, Phil. But I got to tell you, before we get into this week's episode,
right, that's what I wanted to say. I'm curious of your thoughts about last week's episode.
Okay, it was fucking horrible, dude. I couldn't stand a fucking second of it. So he's rolling the bot right from the fucking start. King Fuckface is rolling bodies off of him that have holes in them the size of fucking baseballs, like we talked about the week before that, right? Like that's what would happen. But somehow none of those bullets went into our man Ezekiel. One in his ankle, but he can't walk, right? He crawls all over the place until he can walk. And by the time he gets back to fucking camp, he's just like strutting through, like not even using the fucking cane, sword cane, whatever. Stupid. Shiva, what the fuck was that? Like literally throws one of these zombies 10 feet up in a fucking embankment, but stands still, can't just walk through them. The people can walk through them and just push them a fucking side. But the 500-pound fucking tiger gets mauled by 20? Really? 20 people? 20 zombie people slower than fucking molasses? Like, just stupid fucking episode from go to end. And I'm sorry, but as much as whoever loves Carol, great, love her. Her acting was bullshit in that episode. The acting from the actress seemed really fucking phoned into me. I don't know what else I can say about how stupid that fucking episode was. And like right down to like thank you for being a cool dude. Like just fucking stupid. These are the stupidest fucking walkers in any zombie flick ever at this point. And like they're crawling away from them at like breakneck speed. Like they're leaving the trail of this huge pack of zombies in the dust, but they get hung up on a fence. And instead of continuing to move along the fence or anywhere, or hell, you walked away from go through them, cut one open and start pouring fucking zombie guts on yourself. This is not fucking Like, I don't get it. I don't get the writers. I don't get the actors being not opening up their fucking mouths going, don't we know of like 12 ways to get out of this situation? Like, haven't we been dealing with any of these situations long enough where this shouldn't be an issue ever now? Finally? It's just fucking, come on. So stupid. How long do we have to sit in that fucking trailer with Negan and Gabriel before they decide to pull a fucking body in? But no, we just throw some guts on our fucking shoulders and we'll be fine. No need to cover our face in this crowd or our ankles or anything. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just.
Don't be sorry. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Joe's review of episode 4.
What else stupid fucking happened last week? It was just this whole introspective fucking bullshit from fucking King Ezekiel was just horrible. It was horrible. Like, every fucking second of watching him lament that we will all survive shit didn't work. Like, no kidding, it didn't work. You're going into war. Like, go play that's why, like, that's why I'm like, these people followed this guy. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
so Joe,
fucking zombie, and that
Joe,
reject that fucking takes him hostage. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
Joe, we'll get back into last week's episode in a little bit, but let's not get too far away from this week. I'm sure some of those things will come up again. Feel free to refer back to it throughout everything. So, coming upon last week, hopefully you were excited and hipped and ready for a full Negan backstory like episode, Joe. And don't you feel like they totally delivered and showed us exactly what we wanted to see and didn't just tell us shit, didn't just have it come in dialogue? Aren't you glad that there were no flashbacks in this episode?
I mean, there weren't. I mean, I guess it's a flashback, but
no. What I'm saying, I'm speaking hugely sarcastically. I feel like the way that we got Negan's backstory was well and good. I thought, for whatever it's worth in this episode, and I think this episode had some major problems, Joe.
Oh, you mean like he had a wife and he couldn't put her down?
Yeah. Would you have rather actually seeing that in a Morgan-like backstory episode? Would that have made you care about Negan a little bit more, or was that enough to find out his backstory?
Here's the thing. Any kind of backstory from Negan, whether told to us in this manner where he's sharing, whatever, it's a lie. Why would it be the truth? Why would any of that be the truth? Okay, and even if it is the truth, it's too fucking late. It should have happened 15 fucking episodes ago.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, and I feel like it was halfway there to like a here's Negan kind of thing. It didn't quite give it to us all the way, but I feel, God, as much as I did not like, again, I'm not a huge fan of this episode. I think I'm a little bit more of a fan of some of this back half of these episodes than you, Joe. But my biggest problem with this was okay. It has a lot of problems. It's not one biggest problem, but what I guess what I'm going to say, the good parts of it, I'm going to start with the good parts. I feel like Jeffrey D. Morgan understands Negan a little bit better, and in his line delivery in this, and I know you're going to disagree or whatever, in his line delivery in this scene, he at least came off to me slightly more menacing and less peacocky, for whatever that's worth, in this particular episode. I'm still not a fan of the character. I'm still not a fan of this storyline.
He didn't have enough time to come off like that. So he does at the very beginning, right? And we get a very clear picture of he doesn't want to kill people, all the people, because he needs them to be slaves. Okay, so and he comes off peacocky in that room. Look, I got the bat in the room, and I'll beat your head in, Simon and Gregory and everybody else in here. And then we get him in the trailer with Gabriel.
That was
what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Peacock in front of Gabriel for 12, 15, 16, 20 hours?
Joe. No doubt the writing is shit on a stick. All I'm saying is Jeffrey D. Morgan, who I've not always felt gave the best performances as Negan, I feel like he gave a really good performance in this episode. Regardless of the shit he had to work with, within that, he gave a good performance in those scenes, kind of actually showing different qualities to Negan's character other than the blah, blah, like the the two sides. When he was telling the story about his wife, whether you believe it or not, I saw emotion there. I saw some flexibility within that. That's not to say, again, it's not shit. I'm just saying, as an acting performance, him and Seth, two characters I could give two fucking crap loads left. Gabriel they both can die in that fucking box. I could give a shit less. The show would be better because of it. I think both of them are good actors, and they showed good acting chops in that room. And that's about it. That and we'll get to it because we'll rip it apart in a second. And that the other thing I want to get your take on at the beginning here in the episode, and probably the big thing coming from this episode, besides all the Negan Peacock bullshit, the bad guy, the Frank Drebin, we're going to kill the president sitting around the circle, all the bad guy central axis of evil there, is the Rick versus Daryl stuff on the should we blow the saviors up. I personally have talked a lot about how in this situation, I'm all about Daryl being right, and I'm still there. Like, and tell me why I'm wrong or agree with me, Joe.
Okay, so I actually dug that scene. That was one of
it was a good scene.
Two moments in this episode that I really enjoyed. And one of those might be a shock to everybody out there after my last time I opened up my mouth. And that's Negan punching Gabriel in the face. The other is, of course, Rick and Daryl's little fight. Once it starts off, once their fight goes down, I was like, you know what? This is bullshit. We just did this with Morgan and fucking Jesus. Oh my God. And then the scene, by the time the scene was over, I had a huge smile on my face and I was laughing.
Did you like
Daryl is absolutely 50-50 right, and so is Rick.
so they're
and I'll tell you why. Because Rick's point,
I need a better
Rick's point of if you do that, those workers that are down there, the workers that they have, they're not fighters and they are family, right? And you know that some of them are being taken advantage of. We know this. We don't necessarily know Daryl knows this or any of the other people know this, but you know they're being taken advantage of. And you know that most likely they're all doing this because they're fucking scared shitless and don't want their wife or husband's head beat in or child's head beat in to fall back in line as a worker. So you do that, and anybody that lives through that is going to be galvanized against you most likely. You know, like we bomb a place overseas and it hits a fucking school that's right next to where they're being bad guys. Yeah. I mean, it's the bad guy's fault for being bad guys next to a fucking school, but ultimately we bombed a fucking school, or the school blew up in the bombing, right? So that's kind of really bad. It galvanizes the population against us.
Speaking of those workers, I want to go to a point that Atari Dad, and thank you to everyone that's here in the live motherfucking chat tonight. Atari Dad, Hannibal, I see you in the live chat. Chalkboy, JW Flux, 1998 champion, Sir LT Giles. Lots of awesome people popping in and out in the chat tonight. Thank you to everyone that's joining us live after this episode. If you disagree with us, as always, we have a voicemail line. We love to hear your perspectives on where you think we might be wrong, why you love this episode, or why you're right, and pile on The Walking Dead right now. 781-990-8509. We'll also try to get you in the live chat. You saw the walkers in this episode until Negan showed up, and then they were out for blood. That was one part that really bothered me. So all these workers, like is Negan that scary? Like, what is it about him in that situation?
He's got a shield. That's stupid.
That they're gonna all revolt over. You know,
they're going to try to fight the other 7 people there, but now that Negan showed up, we're not going to fight any of them.
Once he shoots one of them, and not you want some more? There's more of us than you. If you already shot one of us, you're going to shoot more. We might as all of us go and kill you 6 and hang you up and then take over the situation. Negan coming in whistling makes everyone go down on one knee, like he's like he's David Manstavish and they're all Scientologists.
It's
something like what the
stupid.
shit's going on?
Absolutely stupid. They decide we're gonna go up there and we're gonna fight these people if we have to, but Negan shows up and all of a sudden, nope, I guess we're not gonna fight them anymore. It's bullshit. It's really stupid. You know, to get back to that other point though, Phil,
yep.
On the same respect, Daryl's right. Daryl's right in that they're all fucking Negan, right? They're all on their knee at the end of this episode. So, you know, those workers who are working and doing what they're doing are also propping up these bad people doing these bad things. So if half of them have to die to, you know, get those people to stop, then half of them have to die. You know, like, so I kind of agree with both. I don't know whether or not I would go the route Daryl had. I would try to probably see through the plan. They had a plan, you know, and when you don't follow the plan, shit goes wrong. And look what happened. The plan was to take those fucking guns and bring those guns back to their people. Daryl didn't want to follow. Daryl didn't want to stick to the plan. Rick tried to make him stick to the plan, which was also not part of the plan. And now they don't have any guns and any dynamite.
And now we have
to stick with the plan.
And now, goddamn it, we have to deal with an episode next week where we're gonna have to deal with those fucking trash people.
Everybody, you do what if everybody does what Belichick says and just do your job, we'll win. But if you don't do your job and everybody does what they want to go do, people.
Joe, I don't want to hear it. Joe, I don't want to hear it today. I don't want to hear it today. Anyways, Corey Mitchell says leather jacket, shiny, must kneel. Totally Umber says, I fucking hate the whole I'm Negan bullshit. Negan is like a cult leader, like Ezekiel, says Chalk Boy. Is Negan and Ezekiel the same thing, Joe? It's different sides of the same coin.
They're painted as the white king and the black king, right? Like, I don't even mean that as like, you know, the color of their skin. I meant that in like chess terms because we saw the chessboard earlier, so that was on my mind. That came out wicked wrong. But like, they're painted to be opposites of each other. One's the good and noble and just king, and one's not. And then there's Rick, who's like kind of like fluctuating between them, I guess. I don't know. I don't see it. That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Would you consider them both cult leaders?
I mean, anybody who's, I mean, they all kind of are. I mean, the widow, she's kind of, I mean,
the widow. She sounds like a the widow. We talked about this last week. It sounds like a Into the Badlands.
Badlands, right? Yeah. It's a little, it's weird. I don't know if I would call any of them cult leaders. I mean, every community is gonna have a leader or a panel of leaders.
Negan's straight fucking cult leader. I love DJ Better. Great to see you, DJ Better. Look, I love The Walking Dead, but the story is too slow. This episode could have been summarized in one sentence. Negan and Gabriel get out of the fucking trailer. That's one of my problems with this episode, DJ. And I was gonna get into this later. That this episode was an hour and 13 minutes long. I mean, with commercials. Everything that happened in this episode, the fact that this wasn't edited down to less than an hour episode. This was the episode out of all the episodes this season that we've had so far. This is the one that needs to be an hour and 13 minutes. Yeah. They couldn't have cut it off. They couldn't have summarized all that yada yada this a little bit or quickened it up.
That's because what they did was this, Phil. That scene at the beginning, that stupid fucking what happened before Rick knocked on the door scene, that was meant for the first episode, probably, to be in chronological order. And maybe the first episode was supposed to be an hour and 13 minutes or
a 2 hour or something like that.
Right. But instead they were like, oh, let's give them a Thanksgiving treat and make it a 13-minute extra long episode or whatever, and take that scene and put it here. It kind of fits with with coming back to them at this point in the whole like storytell of it. So why don't we do that instead? And it came off to me like, I wish that scene never existed. Like, if it did, it should have been in episode 1 of this season. You know, right before Rick actually knocked on the door. It was.
I'm not a smart person. It confused me. I'm like, what's going on? What happened? Are we jumping in time? Why are we doing this right now? Atari Dad goes, let's get to the chat a little bit before we go to our recap. Ezekiel in the Kingdom is more like the Insane Clown Posse in the Juggalos, and Negan and the Savior is more like David Miscavige in the Church of Scientology. Good point, no, Hannibal.
I can't say it is, because it's like the churches and the cults, right? They're all based on, you know, they love their leaders. That's why they're in the cult, not because they fear their leaders. If you're raised in a cult, maybe you stay in it because you fear the leaders. But if you join a cult, you're joining because ultimately you love this person and you love what they have
or you love the community that goes around with the cult. You don't have like much to do yourself, so you need it's there's a fine line between a club and a cult.
Right. These aren't like, Negan's not really a cult. Anybody that's following him is following him because someone in their group got their head bashed in. And they don't want to get their head bashed in.
But That's an interesting thing. I'm not sure about that. That's why it would have been good.
They're slaves. There's a difference between being a slave and being
Or did he infiltrate a group or did he just kill the higher ups of another group and take over a group? So those people never had a chance, and their fears because of how he took over the leadership of the group. That's why I think maybe.
But either way, it's still based on this fear and not this love.
Mm-hmm.
Cults are based on that love of the church. Nobody there loves Negan except for that lady. Thank God for you, Negan.
In fairness, and I don't want to get too on this because we could do our own podcast on this. A lot of people do fear the higher ups, especially the higher ups, and
even the higher ups fear the higher ups. They're all at each other's throats, and they're all scared Negan's going to bash their head in too. None of them are safe either.
Anyways, the trash people was the stupidest story ever. Added says DJ asked,
and they're bringing the trash people back.
Nick says, with the workers, we should have had an I'm Spartacus moment to make Negan feel weak from his own people. And what the fuck didn't Negan and Gabriel take their jackets off of the trailer? Good question. Ezekiel lets his people leave the kingdom. Negan hunts people down when they try to leave. It's like an hour and 13 minutes because of the budget savings by not giving us a CGI Shiva. What's up, Tim F? The Issues program cult details at 11 says I enthroned. Stockholm Syndrome. Dating for sex, check my profile link. Oh, everyone check Linda's profile link. I mean, applying logic to this show is a waste. Zombies can't climb, then don't you live in a fucking mountain? Tuning in, episode consensus. Chalk Boy says B-. Lynetta McAlpine says, I really think it's time for another call to AMC. And this time we need to ask for Scott Gimple to be removed as showrunner. Somebody's head should be bashed in for not locking the door of the lower level. Mid-season finale, if we're not all pleased with the second to last episode, Joe's not going to be on the mid-season finale. So the second to last episode of the season, if Joe and I aren't pleased with that episode leading into the mid-season finale, we, in fact, will call AMC again, or we'll do a separate show after the season where it's just like a video, like a short video of Joe and I calling AMC after the season's done, with Joe giving his thoughts on the... I think that's what I'm going to do, that latter one. After the seasons, like we usually do after this, do a podcast with you.
So we're just planning on calling AMC.
Yeah, we're planning on calling AMC.
How do you salvage this? What episode number is this? 5?
We have 3 more.
This was episode number 5, and every single one of these all-out war episodes have been shit. Have been absolute dog shit.
I might argue with you there a little bit, but they're definitely not on the level. I still would argue that this season's better than last season.
Dog shit.
Anyways, speaking of dog shit, it's about time. Let's get into it. Recap! I was gonna go bring my cat over for the recap, but no. Okay, enough of that.
Shit next to the dog shit.
So Joe's ranking of this is 10 side buttholes of shit. No, I would say I'll probably decide as we get into this. So let's get into this episode. So hope you get your shit and pants on as we get with our savior's point of view at the open of this episode. We open up to a quick monologue from Gabriel about how he's going to die.
I very likely will die. I'm not asking to live. You've given me...
Okay, basically all of this is all about him saying he needs to not die, but not a fruitless death. He needs a purpose. We didn't talk about this, Joe. Is Gabriel bit, or is he fakey? Is he faking it at the end there, or is he really bit and going to turn into a zombie in the situation?
When did we see him get bite?
We didn't see him get bit, but at the end he's like sweating and sick and all that.
He's got the fucking flu. Who knows? He right before they were like, you think anybody ever got sick from smearing this shit on themselves? Flash forward to the end of the episode, and he's sick in the cell.
Fair. Okay, yeah, good point. I guess there was a moment where some ruckus went on in there where I guess he could have been bit, but I don't think he was bit. But what do you think his big thing is going to be? How is he going to die with a purpose? Since they're like hitting us over the head with that he has to die with a purpose. What will be his end game this season? Do you think, first of all, I'll say I think Gabriel dies before the end of the season, or at least I'm hoping. How do you think Gabriel goes out, or what do you think his fate is at the end of the season, Joe?
Oh, you know what? I don't know, but I can tell you what I hope.
Tell me what
he dies in that fucking cell, and when they open it up, He bites someone because stupid fucking Eugene opens the door again alone like an idiot to go back and check on his buddy, and he gets fucking bit and he hides it, and he zombies up and he fucking bites a couple of people, and then they all fucking go and the whole place falls.
1998 champion says, I think I saw a bite on his hand when he reached for Eugene. And DJ Bitter says, I was at the open, I was actually hoping for a backstory episode of Negan. Would have been more interesting than what we got. So we cut over to Gregory, and we get I like me some Stephen Ogg. I love him, but the too much of him in this episode too, in some weird way. Like he less
That's
is
too much of all of these fucking psychos.
I don't care about this little axis of evil group. And we get over to Gregory and him having like a useless scene considering everything we've already had.
Eggs, pancake.
Again, I know what Joe's saying. For his perspective, he wishes that this scene never existed in the first place. But again, I think it would have added. Again, you could have made that 100th episode so fucking huge. And yeah, I'm playing fucking 10 weeks ago Monday morning quarterback again. Whereas if you close out this Negan story arc, ultimately make the all-out war one huge 2.5 hour like epic fucking way to start the season. The 100th episode is like a 2-hour thing, and you have this scene, then it has a lot more weight. Seeing it after the fact is just like, okay, let's watch a squirmy guy be squirmy here when we know he's a fucking piece of shit. Like
we've already seen him squirm under whatever Steve Ogg.
Right, we've seen it done better. Joe, we've seen it done better. Basically, all it's done for is so we can get a couple one-liners here, because it's fill it out. Fill out the episode. Here you go.
No. Yay.
And I love this guy. I think he kills it in this role, but in this episode, I don't know. They just gave him so much shit, and
they both kill it in this role. But we had this scene, in between two trailers. We've had this scene every time he shows up at the fucking hilltop to talk to Gregory. He treats him like this, and Gregory does his squirmy little head bob bullshit and like broken sentence crap. Like it's giving us that same shit. And then I don't care about any of these fucking people. They're all fucking psychos. So any of this, what are they doing now? And how are they going to make it through this? And how are we going to make it compelling for our good guys? I don't care. Showing us them like arguing and bickering amongst each other. And that's not interesting to me. I mean, don't you just figure that's going to happen with psychopaths? Once the big boss is gone, aren't they all going to want to fight amongst themselves to be the boss?
Joe, I mean, it might seem like we're being nitpicky here, but ultimately, because I think there was some good back and forth going on, but DJ Bitter said it in the live chat, and it's basically going to say the same thing here. It's just nothing new, and it's the same scenes over and over again that we saw last year or in different situations that were done better, done in a very sort of unemotional way at the beginning of the episode, especially where everything goes. It becomes even less important later, because this is all just the lead up as we go in. I'm just going to yada yada all this. We go to the table and we get the acts of useless bad guys at the table of the Batman comic villains. It was like,
better not be lying to me.
Better not be lying to me. Scary you. And then the unknown, and then we get all the talking's head. Then Negan's like, I don't like killing, and we get this whole thing. I love killing, and it's
the right person, the right time can save hundreds, and that's what we do.
And I was saying that I do, under the right circumstances. Well, this situation that we find ourselves,
and it's all right stuff. Going back and forth between these characters,
it's not, because we know all this from them.
But that's what I was just going to say that, but it's just repetition. It's almost excuses just to have some comic relief put in there. So because these are some of our funnier characters all in the same place at the same time, where we have Negan doing his, and if you find them all funny, Gregory doing his squirmy thing and Simon doing his thing, and knowing how this all fails. So seeing it all kind of lead up. But to me, it just was kind of a waste of time at the beginning of the episode, Joe.
It was. We've seen, there was absolutely nothing new in that room. It just seemed like,
yeah. No, I'm Joe. It's the same thing. I'm sort of coming up with a loss of words, and people know I never have trouble talking. But
that's how they come up with a plan. by just sitting there and like threatening each other and talking about how much we love killing.
That's what bad guys do. Didn't you see the beginning of Naked Gun, Joe, before Frank Drebin sneaks in there, where you get like, you know, Gorbachev and the Ayatollah and all those dudes sitting around planning Reggie Jackson to kill the queen, and Frank Drebin shows up and beats them up? That's how bad guys talk to each other, Joe. They sit in a circle and they throw insults back and forth and go and pet cats. Haven't you seen Austin Powers, Joe? Come on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And
but Tim says, but that senseless bro fight between Brick and Daryl, though, it was fun. It was awesome. Again, that's the stuff that works in this episode. And I'm not saying, I started off by saying there are some things that worked in this episode, some things that didn't. I know Joe talked about his thoughts of last week's before. I think this is a step backwards from last week's. Joe probably thinks it's just a lateral step of more.
It's absolutely a lateral step. There hasn't been a step forward to go back from since fucking Glenn crawled underneath that dumpster. There really hasn't. It's all been lateral fucking crap since.
The only argument I'd make, Joe, and it's because I don't want to argue you too heavy because I don't completely disagree with you. I do think at times this season has shown signs that if it was a little tighter and a little bit more quality control, we could have had something mildly entertaining this season. Like, just from an action standpoint, like, cut all the fucking moral obligation bullshit and just give us a fucking Expendables movie. You know what I mean? Just give us like straight action, crazy war silliness over the top. And there's times in this season where they've done that, but then they mix it in with, oh, we have to have a moral dilemma right here, extra monologue there, zip zap zippity doo. An episode like this where they just completely halt the brakes and it needs to be the same 3 days over and over again. Why do we have to do that? Start every episode with this flashback scene to try to add more emotional weight to it. Just give me a fucking war between two sets of people and see the good guys kill the fucking bad guys.
And when you do the war, though, don't make it completely fucking stupid where you leave 4-inch fucking exit wounds in a body, but the body directly underneath it suffers no fucking damage. Don't give us an absolutely stupid fucking war where nobody runs out of ammo. Not even a fucking 6-shooter.
Occasionally they talk about it. They mention it once in a while.
A stupid fucking war that has a tiger that knows who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. Don't give us a stupid fucking war where the tiger dies the stupidest fucking death, dodges hundreds of fucking bullets.
Spoiler alert, it was a Barristan death.
And then dies in a sewage swamp, a toxic sludge, the toxic Avenger, like
Swamp Thing
birth
killed
area.
It, Swamp Thing killed it. Swamp Thing.
Like, God, his ankle had a wound. It's gonna be his leg's gonna fall off, Ezekiel. Like, oh no, we just ran from 30 fucking zombies, 100 zombies, but there are 5 in the toxic sludge. Leave me here. I'll cover your exit through the toxic sludge. Like, are you fucking kidding me? The whole fucking thing, all season. I would agree with you, Phil, if there was an if in the first place. Like you said, if it was all out war, they did give us that, if they did, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I agree. But what I'm saying is that there's been signs of that, which to me means nothing. It means nothing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are signs of, like, yeah, ooh, I saw a gun. Maybe somebody will shoot it. Maybe it will do like
that. If someone served me a table of food that was covered with like shit and fucking vomit and all sorts of horrible shit and Worcestershire sauce and all that, but then there was like one like awesome piece of pizza stuck in the middle there. That's what the season of The Walking Dead's like for me.
Yeah, right. So you can see the pizza, but you're still not going to eat it because it's surrounded by shit, piss, puke, and vomit.
It has tote box. Yeah, it's touching that other stuff. But
it's even near. It's in the same room as it, Phil. The smell is soaked into that cheese.
In there, but it's in there. The good stuff's in there. The pizza's in there.
Prego.
Yeah, it's prego. Manja, Joe. Manja. So Leanna Finn, great to see you. I thought we were gonna get a huge backstory for Negan. He cheated on his wife. Really? They downplay everything we want from this damn show. Having that tiger was stupid to begin with, says Paul.
Right. And how do you have a scene, right? Here's the scene that is supposed to maybe give us some sort of Negan like dimension where we might be able to feel for him, like you said, because you can see the emotion on him
At
when
the
he's
end of the episode. You mean at the end of the episode?
Right, but what's he fucking confessing, Phil? What's he confessing? I cheated on my wife. The one person who was ever my true wife got sick and was dying before this, died during this, but during her sickness, I cheated on that fucking cunt. Are you kidding me? Where's the, oh, I feel so bad for now. See where he's.
I don't feel bad for him. I can just understand him a little bit more. It made me hate him.
It means he was a fucking cocksucker before this. And he's a cocksucker now.
Yes.
His weakness wasn't just that he couldn't put down his wife. His weakness was that he couldn't stay faithful to his wife. His weakness is that he lied to himself about her being my one true wife. His weakness is that he's an insecure little boy with a fancy leather jacket and a baseball bat with barbed wire. So now I'm a big tough guy. Are you kidding me? How many of these people have a gun with one Rosita? And all she can do is pop Lucille in the fucking head.
Lucille, block that. Lucille has magic powers, Joe. He didn't say anything new. DJ says, agreeing with you 100%, Joe. I have always been an asshole. That's what was said. That's what we heard. And Joe, just for that, you deserve a fucking spin of the wheel for you, Joe. Just for that rant. So Negan does not like to kill people, but he does like to kill people. Gregory says, I'm the guy. You're the guy. I don't want to be the guy. Then Negan go back and forth. And it's I mean, I could go through moment to moment in this scene, but whatever. And but whatever. Here it is. Here's a little bit more.
I let a fox into my hen house. She and her people
still here.
Took advantage of my.
Yeah, Joe, we haven't
Foxy Widow. What does the Foxy Widow say?
What does what does the Foxy Widow say? Sorry, Joe. I was off there. I missed it. I was being distracted by sexy dating again. So
that's so 2015.
Okay, so we Negan's like, are you confused who I really am? He seems threatening in this scene, but
he is threatening in this scene. They're all threatening. They're all threatening Gregory. What good is threatening this guy for? Why are you even having this conversation with him? You obviously know. You say it yourself while you're sitting at the table. Are you sure you're in control of the hilltop? You didn't know any of this was going to happen. You didn't know we were going to get ambushed. You had to run away from them. Are you sure? Like, they know he's not in fucking charge.
Why aren't they killing? Like, that's one of the things too. I don't get why they aren't even just killing him right now. I think it's just a matter of time. Like, they're going to do it after dinner. Like, they just want to eat first. So then we cut over to we hear some commotion going on outside. And we see that this is from a few episodes back with the Negan's guy's perspective. And then we never really come back to that. There's no real point of it. Ultimately, the only point of putting that in this fucking episode, other than like what Joe was saying, that they filmed it before and they had to stick it somewhere, was so we know all these people and the dynamic around the table later when we fucking see them later. Like, other than that, there was literally no point. You could have started this episode with Gabriel.
Well, we already knew that dynamic. We already really knew that
we haven't
Negan
seen them all
is
together.
The only person in charge, period. And everybody else falls in line to him. So we already really knew that. So this whole thing, it makes us, you want a plan? Here's your plan. We drag Gregory up to the fucking hilltop. We don't say a fucking word. We bang on the gate, and when we have everybody's attention, we just beat his fucking brain in, and we say, open the fucking gate. When they don't, we burn the place down. Like Simon said. Hey, if you're not going to fall in line, isn't that what the consequences are? Guarantee you, when you start lobbing Molotovs over the fucking wall left and right, they all open up the gate and fall the fucking line.
So then we cut over to Negan and Gabriel, who quickly tackles him and steals his gun. And I missed it because anytime they say these words, I think that they're not real words in the Walking Dead universe. There was something about being out of bullets. I don't often hear that, so it seemed weird. So Negan's this was all just kind of a blur to me. Of again,
yeah, they talked about bullets. That's why they took. That's why they took Eugene in the first place, was because he knew how to make the bullets.
Right. No, I'm saying in this, but yeah. Okay, I'm kidding. But then suddenly, like you were saying, they just become not a problem at any time.
Right, because they have all the stockpiles. Oh, but they're over there.
But Negan said something in this situation about Gabriel being out of bullets, and he couldn't get his handgun enough, and he takes the handgun away. So then we fade, and the walker's hands in the window. It's kind of a cool visual. So then we get Negan saying, your friend Rick's an asshole, and Gabriel's like, no, you're an asshole. And Negan says, but Rick gets people killed. And I killed the ginger and the widow's husband, but I did not get them killed.
Big difference. And that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. It's bullshit. It's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard. And another stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard out of Negan's mouth. I killed them, but I didn't get them killed. Rick did that. What? No, you did that by chasing them down and killing them.
Yeah. For
no fucking reason but to be king and have more slaves.
Things psychopaths say for 100, Alex. So like it's stupid. It's fucking rationalizations dickheads make for right there.
None of this is my fault. If the zombie apocalypse didn't happen, I wouldn't have to kill anyone. So don't blame me.
Yeah. I just be a dude cheating on my wife.
I just be a dude cheating on my sick wife.
That's all I've been. Leanna Finn, a $20 super chat donation. Thank you so much.
But she'd probably be dead by now, so
yeah, so it'll be okay. I'd marry someone else and cheat on her too. It's okay. Spin the wheel. You get 2 spins of the wheel for that, Leanna. Thank you so much for that super chat donation. You were fucking amazing. Really do appreciate it. Lands on Joe. Tell us something you liked about this episode, or tell us a little bit more. Tell us something you enjoyed about Gabriel as a character.
Getting punched in the face.
Getting punched in the face. You loved seeing that. Could you see that on replay over and over again?
I could. It would have been more satisfying if it was anybody else that punched him in the face. But you know, I'll recognize a win when it's there, even though it was Negan that did it.
And your second spin landed on both take a drink, or it says shots, but I don't have any shots right now, and Joe's not drinking, but so he can take a shot of some coffee for you. But here we go. This is a toast for you. Thank you so much for the super chat donations. Those fucking donations keep us going, and that means so fucking much. So toast to you, Leanna. Thank you so much. Oh, fuck, man. Yeah, and this is my last of the Game of Thrones Winter is Here beer, which is very fucking good. 8.3% alcohol. Tastes very fucking delicious. One of the better ones. I'm kind of hoping that Gang puts out all the beers again before the last season, but we'll see. Anyway, so Gabriel says, I fear fruitless death, and
so fucking stupid. Any death pretty much in this is fruitless. All this killing and fighting, just fucking leave. Just leave. You don't have to go to war over fucking Alexandria or the hilltop. Just get in your cars and go 2 states away. What the fuck? You know how to get through the zombies. Apparently, they're not a fucking problem anymore.
Apparently, gas isn't a problem anymore either. So
right.
You just kind of go. You can just go. Just go.
Just go.
Just go, dude.
Go west, go north, go the fuck back to Georgia. They weren't in Georgia.
Atari Dad, yes, Joe and I will be talking about that show at some point soon.
Oh, fuck yeah.
We will absolutely be talking about that show sometime soon. I haven't finished it yet, so
who's Carlos?
I haven't been watching. I've only very early on, but anyways, let's continue.
Who's Carlos?
So we continue. What was that? What'd you say?
So disappointed. Man, I throw it a who's Carlos? Oh, that's Carlos.
Oh, yeah, well, that's Carlos.
You still don't know.
I still don't know. So I have no fucking clue. What? Explain to me, Joe. I'm a fucking.
How I Met Your Mother. Who's Carlos?
Oh, who's Carlos? That's such a random How I Met Your Mother reference,
And
dude.
that's Shane. That's the Punisher.
Oh, is it the Punisher? Is he? I didn't even know he was in that.
Yeah, he's Carlos. Shane was Carlos, man. Who the fuck's Carlos?
Holy shit!
Shane.
My computer just did a weird sort of power.
That was painful, DJ. Trying to get Phil to connect the fucking dots there.
Yeah.
You should know these things. You should know these things, man.
I'm sorry. I fucking suck.
I agree. I mean, that's but DJ, not you. You
No,
don't suck all the time, Phil.
Well,
Just when you
sometimes,
be
yeah.
nice.
I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. I got confused. So anyways, give me 1 second. And zippity doo-dah, zippity yay. So we come back in on Rick, and Rick is asking the dude that's alive, where are the guns and some shit. It's hard to understand here. There's a lot of babbling and stuff. Dude mumbles some stuff. Your people are gonna die. Rick, you suck. And the dude just pauses and looks at him, and Daryl just kind of lets him bleed out. And then we go back to Gabriel and Negan again, and he's like, if my people think I'm dead, lots of people are going to die. Negan says, I will not confess, but I will confess that I rubbed one out where you're sitting there.
Like, oh, funny.
It was kind of funny, Joe.
It really wasn't like that. It didn't even solicit a half a chuckle. And believe me, I'm all about coming on things as funny.
Yep.
Coming on bushes while women are walking down the hall. That shit's just funny.
It can be funny.
Who does that, man? Apparently Negan and Harvey Weinstein have at it.
Negan.
He's
So-
like up at the window trying to jerk off out onto the zombies. What?
Yeah, that's Negan. He
It just like I don't. It's fucking stupid. Just stupid. My God, I must confess, rubbed one out where you're sitting just to relax a little. Like, really? In the 30 seconds between the time you got into the trailer and I came in the trailer? You came in the trailer?
or maybe he meant at a different time. I don't know. Are we really going to explore this right now?
Yeah, we're exploring this.
We have to.
He can open the door.
This is what we do. You know, this is what we do here.
It's just so unrealistic. Who's gonna drop trial and jerk off right then? I mean, come on.
So Negan says, I've been doing the same shit my whole life. And we hear some crazy shit as the walkers head up. So then we go to our crew of Simon trying to hold the Negan thing together. He says, I'm Negan. Eugene's just shaking his head saying, the numbers suggest you're inept, quite defensible now. And you're was it good to hear Eugene doing his Eugene babble again for you, Joe? Did you miss this at all?
Did I miss what?
Did you miss?
I'm Negan.
Wait,
And
not,
as I understand it, everyone in this room.
not Negan. Eugene doing his like new Eugene babble.
Yeah. Did I miss Eugene?
Yeah.
Really?
I love how that just silences you. You're like, did I miss Eugene? Really? Is that really a question? Are you really asking me, did I miss Eugene? Yeah. Did you miss? I kind of missed Eugene and his goofiness. I like the character.
No. Nope. Didn't miss it. Not one bit.
So
I don't understand how the guys. I mean, I guess I understand how he's still alive, but I don't understand how he's still alive.
he's Dr. Eugene, Joe. So basically,
Abraham should have killed him.
basically yada 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 in this scene. All the workers think that Eugene's a rat, and Dwight kind of defends Eugene, saying that their plan is shit. And yeah, that's basically all that happens there. I mean, next.
Yeah. And Dwight was an idiot for being like, I would have said it no matter who said that. I would have said it if you didn't. It was what
would that come at me?
he just should have fucking chewed him out and been like, the fuck out of my room, you fat piece of shit. If I find out you've opened your mouth, I'll fucking kill you myself.
So we continue to talk. Classic. Let me talk shit again, Simon. You can't handle leading us. I will I will again, and they kind of go back and forth. There's a little bit of a back and forth problem between Dwight and Simon, where Dwight's like, yeah, if you can't lead us and a lot of shit happens, I'll be the one that does. And then we get one of a couple scenes with Dwight and Eugene. It probably could have just been one, but we get
Ordered the recent confab. I was doing my level best to stay fully on the DL, but sometimes the mouth-brain neuronal connection experiences a misfire and foot med mouth at an unavoidable velocity.
I'm sorry. I enjoy listening to this dude talk. I like that stuff. I think that shit's fucking funny. But again, it's more of the same, I guess. And in the context, it's not really the scene. Having him in scenes with Abraham and being creepy and being like walking around is one thing. Seeing like this rat fuck over here adapting and seeing how he's just a slimy adapter in some ways and holds no sort of warmth or care for the people that have protected him. And I don't know. I guess I like the actor more than the character. So I guess again another way of saying it. I like the acting on the show sometimes.
Yeah,
you're right in there. If you didn't say it, I would have.
So he gives him a jar of pickles, and makes a pickle pun. So then we cut back to Negan and Gabriel, and
you can't forget about the paint. The paint's an important piece.
Which part?
He's distracted while he's talking to Dwight. He's distracted, right? And
he's the paint on his hand
down to his right, and he sees a chessboard, and he goes down and picks up a piece, and he gets paint on him. He's like, "You just painted these, or did you make this, or whatever? Did you build this whole thing, carve it?" And Dwight answers, "Yes." I don't know exactly what he said to him, but he was like, "Yes," and he had red paint on his thumb. Comes into play at the end of the episode.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Joe. I'm like skipping my notes. I'm like sight reading because I'm just like, okay, yeah, some shit happens. I feel like we come back into Dwight's room. Eugene is there looking around. He's showing him his support. Eugene says some shit, brings some cucumbers and pickles, and thanks him for helping him and checks out the chessboard that's still wet. And Eugene says he fully understands him being a suspect in any zippity doo dah zippity yay, my oh my, what a wonderful day. Dwight tells him, no, your plan's probably right. Then we cut back over to Negan and Gabriel. He asks, "Are you weak?" And then we get into the whole thing. Yeah, we were weak. Yeah.
You asked me wrong, not why I'm weak, but you should ask me how I'm weak.
I worked with kids. Kids are little assholes that become big ones. And then he gives another speech about how everyone's weak. Gabriel says, no, you're weak. No, you're weak. No, poo-poo. No, you're weak. And then Negan's like, you're right and you're wrong. Everyone's weak. I'm weak. And then right in that moment, a walker breaks in the window and Negan says, how am I weak? I'm also strong. We're all both to drive strength. I took this group of assholes and I brought them together. The guy before me let people be weak. And Gaby, you're my new special project. We're going to find your special purpose. I'm strong.
Basically, there was a guy before him. And this guy before him was like the mayor of Alexandria lady, or Gregory, or King Ezekiel, or anybody else that we've seen as a leader, right? With the exception of maybe the governor, who's almost exactly like Negan, for Christ's sakes, just a little bit more charming and smiley, or less smiley or whatever. But he'd kill him. He was weak. He let people be weak. So I was like, oh, if I just start bashing brains in, everybody will fall in line. Look at this. Wonderful.
Good plan. I wonder. I'm very curious about how the situation went down, though. Or not very curious. I'm mildly curious. I'm trying. I'm fucking trying here. Hey, DJ says, yeah, applaud Phil for trying to come up with good things to talk about. Leona says, I still cannot believe they fucked up Gabriel Negan scene. We could have had the best Negan backstory mixed in here if they had actually given us. This is what I talked about this in the beginning. This is why I wouldn't have minded a cheese grater governor backstory kind of thing.
Whole episode like they did with the governor? Yeah, that would have been okay with me.
With Negan backstory leading up to the point of them being in that room at the beginning. And I mean, you could have used elements that you had in this episode and parallel the past Negans of Negan showing fear in the conversation with Gabriel with scenes of Negan in his past leading up to show you how he became the person he is. Maybe it's a little cliche, but I think that would have been a little bit more effective.
And I'll tell you why, Phil. See, I would have been okay with that type of an episode with here's 40 minutes of Negan backstory from either pre-apocalypse or just post-apocalypse or whatever. Here it is. There you go. It's a Governor-style standalone episode for Negan, right? That would have worked. Let's get to know him a little. Maybe
I know exactly what you're about to say.
But when would it have worked, Phil?
You're doing the wedding singer thing.
15 episodes ago.
That's information that would have been beneficial yesterday.
Yes, exactly. Not today. Not a season and a half later, after introducing this psychopath and giving us
In fairness,
psychopath speech after psychopath speech. There isn't any amount of Governor Good Guy, Negan Good Guy backstory that could make any of it compelling whatsoever. It's over. The ship has sailed. It's gone. And any attempt is a waste of our time and is an insult to our intelligence, our intellect, and our humanity.
Our humanity. I love you, Joe. So let me continue here. I'm sorry. I gotta find something. So
something to make this seem like a good episode, please.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna find something, Joe. I'm gonna find something. So here we go. Let's continue here. Gabriel's gonna be a special little project. Now when I'm talking about how are you weak strong, tell me the truth, you need to confess, as Negan smiles and says, I didn't kill anyone that did not need to be killed. And Gabriel calls him out on his shit and says, you like to do horrible things. Negan's like, all of them had choices. And in fairness, again, I like how Gabriel kept calling him on his shit here. Let's listen to a little bit of...
I don't think you have anything to confess. People you've killed.
I haven't killed anyone that didn't need it.
The workers you treat like slaves.
It's an economy. Some people win, some people lose, but no one's a slave, no one's going hungry, and you couldn't say that before all this.
Carl told us about your wives, women pressure into marrying you.
Again, I could play more of this. And Joe, you can rip this apart in a second. Because again, the context of what they're saying, I'm gonna tear apart in the scene, the way it's going on. I will argue to try to find the shiny piece inside the turd. The acting performance right there between both actors is good. Those are two good actors emotionally conveying something to me.
Right, but here's the thing. So you say it's you like the way Gabriel's calling him on his bullshit. Well, Gabriel's got absolutely nothing to lose. He's sitting in a fucking trailer with a psychopath that hopes he's got his shitting pants on because he's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill them all no matter what.
Fucking love you, man.
So why not just fucking say whatever you want to this guy? There's no reason to hold back. Why kiss his ass and suck his dick? That's pointless and stupid, right? And as far as Negan goes, why the fuck does he give two shits about anything this guy says whatsoever? He should have already bashed in Gabriel's head. There's no reason to keep him alive, except maybe you're thinking about throwing him out into the fucking crowd to get away yourself.
Joe, I'm having so much trouble not just saying, Joe, you're so fucking right. But all I can say is...
Fucking Joe! Fucking love you, man.
So anyways, let's continue now that I have that on cue. So which is why I played that last scene anyways. So DJ's like, good luck with that, Phil, finding that shiny piece of turd. They will do a flashback episode, I'm sure. They have to show how Negan contracted scoliosis as Chalk Boy. Negan killing was a fraternity stunt that went awry. DJ says, good actors with shitty dialogue. Leanna says, I thought, and Broke said, oh, I guess Joe really liked this episode. Leanna says, I thought Gabriel was good tonight. I wanted a better Negan confession. It was like a fart in a church. Again, no pun intended.
Why would you even want a Negan confession? What the fuck what is a confession? Confess what? For what? So I'm sorry, but like, so the God that put the zombie apocalypse on us can welcome me into the fucking kingdom of heaven? Are you fucking kidding me, you fucking idiot? I would kill him just for trying to play fucking preacher in my fucking cabin. He says to him, you need to confess what? Everybody I fucking killed needed to die. I needed to kill. They deserve to die. Whatever the fuck it is he said.
They deserve to die.
It says it all. Go fuck you, preacher. What? Confess what? I'll come out of this closet if you confess. Are you kidding me?
And
Stay
I hope
the fuck in there. Stay in there, fucking shithead.
And I hope they burn it
and go back inside.
And I hope they burn in hell. Chalk Boy says, some of it was an insult to shitty dialogue. Brooke says, Negan will look bad if he kills a priest, though. Maybe Negan wanted to force Father Gabriel to be his shit buddy. So Negan's confession is that he's a cheater, so he's just like a regular dude, says Johnny Rico. Leanna says, anything, Joe. I just wanted a better confession. Broke dancing to shit buddy as I played it, because you need to just say it, and I play it. I can't help myself. And again, one more time. Oh, sorry, I had the volume down.
Oh, I fucking love you, man.
Okay, that's it. That's it. I got to get that on an actual sound cue, so I don't have to just play the voicemail. Okay, so we get this week strong thing going back and forth. We'll listen to a little bit more of this scene.
Across America, small business.
Oh no, that's the commercial. That was compelling though. So one Gabriel goes for a gun. It ends up being a scene where Gabriel ends up trying to go for a gun. And I applaud Gabriel for at least trying to make something happen in this moment. And Negan kind of throws him to a floor. And there's a weird ruckus that goes on that I'd honestly have to rewatch to understand what actually happened in this moment. And then Negan starts just bashing Lucille into the floor for some reason and screaming, "Lucille!" Ah! So we come back in and Daryl heads over to the flip truck to get to the mine. And I agree with what Joe was saying earlier. This is probably my favorite section of the entire episode. I think if anything I can compliment The Walking Dead on in this particular season, in season 8, is the decision in all of these team matchups to put Rick and Daryl together and to focus on them every episode. They're almost like in Curb Your Enthusiasm this season, they make sure JB Smoove is in every single episode for one moment. In every single episode this season, carry through is the Rick and Daryl thing, where we've had them from point to point. And that's something I applaud, because I think just by the actors, they're two of the people on the show that can rise through the shit the best, because their characters are the most well-rounded on the show at this point, from all of they've been through. Carol's turned into a caricature of herself. I wouldn't include her. Maggie the same way. Something weird's happened to Maggie, and they kind of strayed away from both those characters in a sense of like focusing too much on them. Trying to think of who other like our main
focusing very much on them and giving us nothing from them.
Nothing.
Like we get Maggie eating a bunch, or like maybe like 5 minutes of Maggie in an episode, but she's talked about in every episode in like every other scene.
In reverence, like the widow. Oh, right. Maggie's the leader. Telling us Maggie's the leader, not showing us why Maggie should be a leader.
Should be a leader, right?
Developing her character more. They're saying
because she's a pregnant woman, she's the leader.
Yeah, Michonne and Carl are secondary. We never see them. So our only characters that have any depth to them are Rick and Daryl, and they've been focused on in every episode. So that's a compliment to this season comparatively to last season, when we get away from the characters we care about a lot and focus on characters we don't care about, where Rick and Daryl are no sign of Rick or Daryl for a while. So I guess I can say that is a very good thing about this season. They've used Rick and Daryl well.
Yeah, they have used them very well, and I absolutely agree with you. They are the only well-rounded characters right now on the show, and that was a great point, Phil. They focus so much on Carol, even like last season, beginning of the season. There was so much focus on her, and we got so little from her. She just, hermited herself in a shack.
They just become caricatures of their characters, whereas Rick and Daryl somehow managed to. Maybe it's a credit to the actors, or a credit to that the writers understand two characters or something, or that they're more hands-on and being like, no, my character can't do that. And they kind of have some more ownership over it because they're the two biggest stars. Whatever reason, I enjoy their scenes 99% of the time that they're in. And
I just like Morgan's all, I need to be alone and by myself. And then he comes across Rick and his group and he's like, okay, but I need to be alone, but he stays. We can't kill, but he does. And then Carol's like, I can't do this killing anymore. I got to go be alone. And And Morgan's like, no, come back and kill. And so she does. And then Morgan says, I can't do this anymore. I got to go. What? Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's a fucking bull.
Oh, my fucking God.
So getting back to this shit, we come back in and Daryl goes over to the flip car and he goes over to mine it of goods and shit. So we come in here. Oh, I came over here. I'm like Negan. I just came over here. And they pull out a bunch of, there's no reason to play dialogue here. They pull out a bunch of explosives and some dynamite. Daryl loads it up in his bag and he says, we can use this to blow shit up.
We know what we gotta do. We blow open the sanctuary. Let the walkers flood in. They'll surrender.
And see, here's the thing. The point was to kind of do that anyway. That was what if the door didn't shut, Rick? What if when the walkers all showed up, we don't know. Maybe they were already all inside eating the people over there at the fucking sanctuary. Why wouldn't they be? We brought 1,000 walkers to their fucking door. 3,000 walkers. Wasn't the point of that not just to lock them inside, because then you have to go clear them all out to get these people out? The point of that was to go kill them all.
Have
kill them in their sleep a second time, because the first time you fucked it up last season. So this season you go and you try to kill them all in their sleep or when they're in their rooms and they're not paying attention. But halfway through, we're going to start taking prisoners, because all of a sudden, you know, a sleeping person can be shot to death, but someone who says, no, I give up, can't be. Okay, that makes a whole lot of fucking sense. And then you throw all these fucking zombies at them, but now we can't actually go let the zombies eat them. So you're going to go there, Rick? We're going to clear out all the zombies and free these people from the zombie encased tomb that we've put them in? What? Are you fucking, are you an idiot, Rick? Now you want us to go risk all our lives clearing out thousands of zombies again? No. Let me go down there. I'll get close. I'll light this bag of dynamite on fire and throw it at the fucking wall and let them all flood the fuck into that place and kill them all. None of us die anymore. None of our friends die. We can go back tomorrow and mop up whoever's alive, see if anybody's locked themselves in their room and if they want to fucking give up then, if that's what you're worried about. But right now, all out fucking war means nuclear fucking bomb. The fuck?
Yeah, worry about
Fuck
that
them.
shit. Yeah, worry about the safety of people after you defeat the fucking dude with the baseball bat.
And so that's why I'm saying
Have a good
Daryl
day.
was right as well as Rick. Rick's also partially right in that if you do that, on top of everything else you've done, you're going to galvanize workers who aren't fighters. But you have to assume at this point, Rick, you've already done that because you've shown up and you've assaulted even more. Because some of those fighters probably have wives or maybe even children who are workers.
So jump in the live chat. DJ, have a great night. Love you too.
Husbands.
And she says, kill them all. I'd even take Sansa right now. Walking Dead, bad writing could be good. So let's finish this up here. Let's get through this thing. So they find a bunch of explosives and we get into a fight between the two of them where they go back and forth.
This by sundown.
They have workers in there, right? Families too.
Are there?
So it continues.
Are there? Are there really? Are there workers in their families? Why would we assume that any of them, that they're like, yeah, okay, we can assume some of them don't want to be there, but ultimately they are there. They're propping this guy up. Any of them with a gun or a knife while he walks by could end it, could end all their suffering, but they don't.
And Daryl's not like, let's blow everyone up and kill. It's let's blow a hole, send the walkers in there, and then we can try to save some people. But like ultimately, let's just trick all the bad guys to come out and shoot them. Like we got them to come outside in the first place in episode 1 where we should have shot Negan right when he walked out the door. But that's beside the point. So Rick is like, we got to stick to the plan.
Things change, man. Negan and that other group, this is on them. People die. It's their fault, not ours.
Daryl, we can't do this.
And we got our own people to look after.
So
Not doing this. Hey,
So this leads up to a point where Daryl ultimately hits Rick. And I do want to point out one thing again, a good thing about The Walking Dead. At first image, my first thought is this is a little weird, but this is what I want them to do more of. Okay, Rick's about to get hit or gets hit by Daryl. Then they cut to a useless scene about nothing over with Eugene playing Atari boxing with a good transition to two like.
I love that game.
I love that game too, and I love the transition into it of just kind of being comical there, and then they get a power outage, and then we snap right back to Rick and Daryl beating the shit out of each other. It's just kind of a funny edit moment. It's my favorite part of the entire.
Right. It was good. After the fights, when the fight broke out, when they started fighting each other, they had their little back and forth, and then Rick stops them, and then they back and forth, and then they start fighting. Immediately, I was like, are you fucking serious? We just did this 2 episodes ago with Morgan and fucking Jesus and Tara. Now we're doing it with Rick and Daryl.
And we did it last season with Carol and Morgan too.
Right. And we're doing it again. And it's not only just that we're doing it again. We did it 2 episodes ago with Daryl and Rick also, where Rick's like, I'll let you live. You could take a car and you can go have fun with my son Carl.
Good job. No, you're not quite the Walking David, but I like that. That's pretty good. Pretty good.
You know, and then Daryl shoots him, right? Yeah, no shit. And Rick doesn't say anything. Rick doesn't go, "Why'd you do that for, Daryl?" You know, he just okay. You know, hey, I guess Daryl didn't promise him free passage.
Seriously, Joe, do I have the Walking David on as a guest host tonight, Joe? Good job. And someone I saw in the chat asked where Timo's work schedule hates her right now. We're sending lots of love out to Timo, who stuck at work right now, and her work can go fuck themselves and go hug themselves in the best possible way. And we love Timo. Lots of love to her. Brooks loving your impression of Rick, dude. You got to do Wilbur. Yeah, it's almost like a. That's something like Charlotte's Web. Wilbur. So anyway, so let's get through this hog pile here. So then we get the fight, and it's Rick throws the explosives in the back of the car, and Daryl gets him in a headlock and starts to choke him. No chokeholds, dude, but he starts choking him anyways. And then an explosion's about to happen. Daryl's like, "Oh, I got to stop kicking Merle's ass. I mean, Rick's ass, and drag his ass out of here." So Daryl drags him away. At least we know who would win the fist fight. It would be Daryl, because Daryl definitely got the best of Rick in that situation. And I don't know if it's because Rick
was in a huge car accident, though, right?
And in fairness, Rick's one of those guys. Where he says to you, and again, ding, ring the bell, Deep Space Nine reference. In the episode when Julian's a enhanced human, and Miles is playing him in darts, and he's like, "Have you been holding back on me this whole time?" And he's like, you can't handle the real game. The real Rick game is gonna like bite his nuts and like stick his knife in his asshole and shit.
Bite his cheek off.
But like Rick will go that next step. So Rick's never going full Rick unless he like the snap goes. And I think Daryl's
the same though. Daryl's very much the same.
So who do you think would win out an all-out fist fight between the two of them if this was gone to conclusion?
How far are you in The Punisher?
Not enough to have you talk about talk at all about it.
Okay, I was gonna say if you're up to episode 7.
Episode 6. I'm on episode.
Did they go to Kentucky yet?
No.
Then never mind. But it would end probably something like this, I would think. Whichever one left the other one bloodied and dead on the ground would die probably 50 yards down the road.
Choco
getting to a hospital in time.
Lacey throws in the live chat. Lacey, great to see you. Chokehold reference was a throwback to season 1. Leanna says Rick would win. Joe's impression sounds like Kevin from The Office. Wilbur is my maiden name. Just kidding. Dude, that was a lot of dynamite for a small explosion. I agree. That looked like a lot more dynamite than that.
There was also a gas. If you remember when we first walk up on that truck, there's gas pouring out onto the ground. And you got to also remember there's a lot of bullets and shit and other ammunition in that truck. I didn't think the explosion looked near big enough.
Yeah, that's what they were saying in the live chat. They were saying,
looks small. Yes.
Yeah, that was a lot, dude. That was a lot of dynamite for such a small explosion. Sorry, I might have messed up.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of dynamite, small explosion, plus the munitions, plus the gas and the truck exploding.
It should have been bigger. It screamed of we spent too much money on a tiger. So it blows up, and Daryl watches is like, "Fuck you." So we go back in the car, and Rick is being.
Did they spend money on a tiger, Phil? Did they spend any money on that fucking tiger? We saw it like 5 times. How much could that fucking cost? That could not possibly cost enough to like cause the show to be this shitty. That tiger like was barely.
Blame the tiger, Joe. It's Tony the Tiger's fault. Blame him. Anyways, so we get back into the car.
The stupidest thing about the show is probably the best thing about the show. Getting to see a cute tiger.
Yeah,
it would absolutely fucking rip every single person in that town apart.
Yeah. If I want to hang out with a tiger that knows the good guys from the bad guys, because me and that tiger would get along so well.
Look at the running child. You've ever seen a cat see a mouse run across the room?
Dude, have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and your little cat is like scratching the fuck out of your face? Like, I feed that little bastard every day.
3 times a day, right?
Yeah, I feed that motherfucker. I give him his fucking pills. I care about that. That dude would kill me if he could. In the right.
Like, what happens when the tiger just walks up and tries to knead you for a half a second?
And that's a domesticated motherfucking cat. I mean, the tiger, as the Chris Rock joke goes, that tiger would go fucking tiger. Is it a tragedy? It's a tragedy. No, the tiger went crazy. No, the tiger went tiger.
Jacket, Eugene's haircut.
Read the comment, Joe. I'll read it. Joe, the money is not on the tiger. It's on Negan's jacket, Eugene's haircut, and the writer who writes Negan's ticket jokes. I love you, Broke. So we go back in the car. That's real Broke Blackman 94. Writing jokes like that. He won't be broke for long. So, but back in, the car starts, and Rick is being self-righteous, and Daryl and him talk some shit. And he says that the chokehold is illegal, as Lacey said, is a reference back to season 1. Thank you for the Easter egg. Daryl's not giving Rick a ride. He's making him walk home. He says something to him. Are you sure about this other direction? Are you sure about this plan 2? And I agree. Are you sure about this plan 2? As we know where Rick's going from the preview. But we'll talk about that in a second at the end of the episode. So then we go to Negan again, giving another speech.
Real, we have each other. People are a resource. We make it inside. We live.
And the best thing that comes out of this scene right here is Gabriel ultimately tells Negan what he did, about how he let his congregation die. And Negan has probably my favorite line of his entire thing, where he calls him a horrible, spineless, cowardly shit. Just because I think that properly describes what I think about Gabriel. So I'll give Negan credit there for calling Gabriel exactly what he is. So then Negan gives his big emotional speech that really changed Joe's perspective about him. So let's listen to this, and then let Joe tell you how he felt when he heard this for the first time and hearing it again. Negan, take it over, Negan. Take it over, Negan. See, Negan doesn't want to talk, Joe.
Yeah, I agree with Champion.
Till death do us part. It was before this. I lied to her. I screwed around on her.
Before this, I was an asshole. During this, I was an asshole.
And when she went
5 minutes ago, I was an asshole. And when you open up this door,
I couldn't put her down.
You'll see my
I'm gonna be an asshole.
That is how I was weak. That is what I will confess. Because, yeah, maybe we do bite the big one here.
And so what the fuck if we do bite the big one here?
And Gabriel says you're forgiven, Negan. He's forgiven for being an asshole.
Oh, thanks for forgiving me, Mister with a nice collar.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to get a little bit fucking douchebaggy. I fucking hate that this guts trick is only used every once in a while. If I was in the zombie apocalypse,
I would be covered from head to toe constantly.
all the fucking time, Joe.
I don't give a shit what you think I smell like. Go fuck yourself.
I
I'm
would
not
my
getting eaten today.
It would be like iocane powder. I'd eventually get used to it and stop getting sick, and then I would just. And then because you would, human body adapts, and I would just keep this shit on me 24/7. What the fuck? I would carry my suit, get up at the end of the day, like, hey, honey, and I would walk blissfully throughout the zombie apocalypse. Like, what
People
the
with
fuck?
horribly bad body odor don't smell it on themselves because they let it get that bad and they get used to it. They become accustomed to that smell.
Can you? I become accustomed to your smell, Joe. Can you give me a rational fucking reason? Can anybody call in, text in 781-990-8509, message me a rational reason why people don't do this more often?
And here's the other thing. And when they do it, even when they do it in Fear the Walking Dead in season 2, they do it quite frequently.
You said, dude.
But they're like, okay, I get some on this shoulder. Okay, I got a couple fingerprints on my face. I'm camouflaged now. Nothing on their backs, nothing below the waist. They're still gonna like. How is that any different than you just went out and killed one or two and have their blood on your hands? Like,
dude,
they're not covering themselves. They're not masking any sense with that. If that were the case, none of these zombies would be able to smell them if other zombies were even near them.
Joe, do you know what I'd be doing? I'd find one of those like, super awesome blenders and stuff, and start in my off time taking zombie flesh and blending it, and then putting it in aerosol bottles and just constantly be spraying it on myself.
Right.
I'd be working on that.
Right, and like Michonne had it. Didn't they learn from Michonne? All we have to do is keep toothless, armless zombies near us, and they don't fucking attack us.
Yep, no one's doing that. Paul Q says it's probably unhealthy, maggots and mosquitoes. Well, I deal with that. Like, it's compared to the alternative of getting bit by zombie-like creatures. I'd rather the mosquitoes and the maggots. I'd make them my friends. I'd make them part of me.
And people get accustomed to that. Haven't you ever seen the CCF commercials on television when the flies are all landing all over these people? You know, the poor countries around the world that live in fucking trash dumps. Those people,
Howie Mandel in Walk Like a Man.
You see the flies crawling across eyeballs and nobody's fucking blinking at all. You get accustomed to that, just like the smell.
What about the Black Plague? Yeah, I got a little plague. So I'd take some of those rats and lick them. No, I'm kidding. Or is it wrong plague? No, it's bubonic plague that came from the rats.
The fleas.
The fleas on the rat's back, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Not cool. I don't know why it's cool. Yeah, that's cool. But it's very
cool.
Very interesting that they I don't know a lot of the history of that or etymology of like how they discovered that and how they like wiped it out by like destroying the rat population. But that's a different podcast altogether. That's a history.
I was just thinking something would be awesome. So yeah, Gabriel's all sick at the end, right? In his little cell there. Remember what happened at the prison?
Oh, killing the sick people.
And not just killing the sick people. Fuck killing the sick people. Sick people getting sicker. This shit could spread real quick through this fucking this factory.
Yeah, that's one of those.
There's no ventilation. They turned off all the fucking power. It's super fucking hot. They said there's no water.
Stop thinking like these writers remember what they did 3 seasons ago. They don't remember that.
Ground for whatever fucking virus or bacteria is floating around in fucking Gabriel's collar right now.
They don't remember that.
Why is he sick? He's just some sick motherfucker. That's all, Leanna. He's just sick.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a sec.
He just wants to hear what. Tell me what you did wrong, little boys and girls. Tell me all your dirty little secrets. I'll absolve you. Oh yeah, tell me the dirty shit that you did.
Sorry, everyone in the live chat that was checking that out. So Negan reminds us.
Please, Negan. Now that the door's shut, can you confess so I can jerk off in here?
So Negan reminds us all about our guts trick. Great. And he gives kind of like, I think, a great description of it. This is, again, when Negan's lines work for me, they work for me. And this was another one that worked for me.
What lines work for you?
These are putrid, decaying organs, dead blood, piss, and shit that have been cooking all day in the Virginian sun.
I'm from Georgia.
How many people have gotten sick from this?
We're from Georgia.
I don't know. Something about that is, again, it's the tone of The Walking Dead I like. The more ridiculous and the less emotional or trying to like have any meaning. Just kind of weird. I think if this show's to be great in this particular arc, it's got to be as pulpy and as Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, no, that line, I agree. That was not a bad little like when they
back and forth like
it out. You think anybody like that's this is vile shit. Here we go. Think anybody's ever gotten sick from this?
And Steven, just to fact check us. Thank you so much. This is why I love doing live shows, because we have people fact checking. Steven says brown rats didn't carry the fleas that carried the bubonic plague. The black rats couldn't compete with the brown rats. When the brown rats were introduced to Europe and the bubonic plague, the bubonic plague disappeared. # lesson. Thank you. And that is from Steven. The more you know. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate that. And appreciate all that fucking shit. Wait, I gotta push this back to this one. Okay, that's better. So Negan reminds us of all the guts trick, and we move on. So we come back in, and they are all guts up. They make some noise to attract some walkers to one side, and they try to blend in, and they try to slip through the group. Gabriel has a gun in his hand, and as Joe pointed out, and I'm glad that they held to this, excuse me, they didn't cover themselves with enough guts, and they start to notice quickly. One walker notices Gabriel pretty quick off and kind of comes at him.
What the fuck?
And he shoots the gun in the middle of the group. And then I'm gonna let you go in a second here, build up the rage. And then Negan starts bashing them off in baseball bats, and they are literally surrounded on all four sides, and none of these walkers get a bite in. But the two of them make it through with Negan's magic baseball bat that has force-like powers, and and Negan saves him. In the middle of them, they fight through it. And yeah, Joe, what did you think of this scene?
I thought, how many bullets you had in that fucking gun, and you didn't put a single round in Negan. Maybe you're here for a reason, Gabriel. Maybe you're here for one very specific reason, Gabriel, to save 100 more lives, Gabriel. Shoot the fucking evil fucker in the fucking head, Gabriel.
Fucking dumb, Gabriel. I just have to welcome Jazzy.
So you can keep the gun. Oh, great, thanks. Bam.
Joe, just for the record, not the same Gabriel, but Jazzy Gabriel in the live chat. Welcome from Las Vegas. Great to see you. Comic relief tonight. I could kind of dig it. Some of the moments were comic relief. I could dig it. This scene right here was comic relief. To think that these people could just skip and dance through the lily pod lane of the zombie. So if they could just walk out like this, and they could walk out with like one gunshot and Negan swinging the baseball bat, why'd they have to do the guts trick to begin with? Why couldn't they just walk through? Because it was that easy. Because the walkers realized who they were, and when they were in the middle of the group. If you watch that scene back, it's not like they were already through, and then they figured out at the last minute and started chasing them like
they were right next to the
Rick
door.
Season 1 to actually create tension. They literally, the minute they walked out there, discovered who they were because they didn't surround themselves with enough guts. So why did they need to do this in the begin with? Because Negan's baseball bat has magic, ridiculous force powers. It's finally it has the force crystal that Mace Windu had that created the purple lightsaber is inside of Lucille, and that creates a force bubble around it that creates a shield. I think that's the only way to explain the situation, Joe.
Yeah, stupid.
Stupid, yeah. A wizard did
it. It was stupid. They didn't apparently they could have just fought their way through them. There was no
it didn't fucking matter.
That's what they ended up doing to begin with.
That's what we learned from the scene. Joe, what we learned from the scene was that
the zombies are no threat unless you're a 500-pound tiger.
Or if you're Tyrese looking at a picture.
Because the crippled guy who can't walk for the first 10 minutes after being wounded, but is okay after walking a mile with a wound. Now he's fine. He'll get away from all the walkers, no problem. but the uninjured, extremely fucking healthy 500-pound tiger dies.
So
that's why, because these fucking walkers are stupid. They have completely disgraced the namesake of their goddamn fucking show.
These Jemadars are no threat compared to the Jemadars from the Beta Quadrant. It's from the Alpha Quadrant. It's a ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous situation. This moment right here was almost as bad as Glenn not getting bit in the dumpster. The fact that they were just literally in a group of walkers surrounding them, and not one of them got a bite in.
And then this begs the question, Phil.
It really bothered me.
These two idiots, if Negan and his magic bat and the most inept fucker ever to hold a gun, who's now a crack shot, right?
Oh, he's awesome now. He killed dead people.
Right. If these two fuckers can make it from the trailer back inside, what the fuck is the debate about? Go clear out the goddamn fucking zombies, fighters. The workers do their job. Go do your fucking job. What are you debating? What's taking so long? Why aren't we already out of this fucking building? You didn't plan for this contingency? What happens if a herd comes through?
And Heather said, a couple of people have said that Father Gabriel definitely did get bit. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the episode. And if anyone wants to get some last minute voicemails, I see we have a text and a voicemail to get to at the end. But if anyone wants to get some voicemails or text in now's the time to leave them, as we will we're sort of nearing the end. You can reach us at 781-990-8509. Again, that's 781-990-8509. You can text and call that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And leave your questions or comments. If something we haven't gotten to that I missed in the chat that you want to ask, please text away on that number. So,
Liana, it may be a Valerian steel bat, but you put a Valerian steel sword in Sam Tarley's hand, it's still fucking useless.
Hey, he's Sam the Slayer, dude. So these next scenes, I am literally going to yada yada the fuck out of this scene right here, because it doesn't matter and I don't care. So we go over to Negan's flunky cruise, talking about how Rick's fucking them over, and someone comes in and the walkers come in, workers, we got to shoot them. No, Negan, are you Negan? I'm not Negan. Where are Negan? Who's the fuck's Negan? Then Simon tries to handle the shit, and Simon's like, no, motherfucker, I can't handle it. Someone's like, I play Grand Theft Auto, I don't really fucking like it. And then the worker's like, it's time for a revolt because now Negan's not here, and somehow one guy can't stop us. And then Dwight's like, I can handle things, and you can handle things, and they can handle things. And Gavin's like, I can handle things. And then where's Negan?
So Phil,
1 second. And then yada 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 yada. Negan shows up and whistles, and everyone bows down to him. And Negan's back. And I'll play the Negan quote after you're done. Joe, what were you gonna say?
So we're in the zombie apocalypse, okay?
Cattigat, great to see Cattigat. Sorry.
Granted, this is still supposed to be a few years ago. Time has moved faster for us than it has for our TV show, right? But here's the thing. How hard is it to find an Atari 2600, Phil?
Right now?
Right now. Not in the zombie apocalypse.
Pretty easy.
How hard do you think it would be to find one in the zombie apocalypse?
Pretty difficult. I would
a working one with a boxing game and a controller?
Extremely difficult. I would
And
say,
why wouldn't you, if you found an Atari 2600, if you found a place that had an Atari 2600, do you not think there would be a PS4, an Xbox One, an Xbox 2, an Xbox 360, a PlayStation, a Nintendo 64, or any other fucking game system
how about a
whatsoever? Why wasn't he playing GTA or GTA 5 that our fucking Simon is actually in? That would have been a great fucking Easter egg for us, for everybody who knows who this fucking actor is. But no, instead they give him this fucking retro fucking video game, that system that is like fucking 38 years old, almost 40-year-old system working fine in the zombie apocalypse. No problem. Are you fucking kidding me?
He blew in the cartridge, Joe. So
are you fucking kidding me? And I'm sorry, as much as I love that fucking game, no, not after playing these generation games. You can't go back and be like, oh, I'm gonna veg out to my joystick and fucking boxing adventure fucking come on.
I would
Maybe Pac-Man.
I
I
would
can play
argue some
Pac-Man
people like I can still play
I
Super
can still play
Nintendo.
Pac-Man.
I can still play Super Nintendo and Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, no, I can too, because like I said, Pac-Man and like Donkey Kong, those are original Atari games
But
too,
not
right?
Pac-Man on the 2600. That game sucked. It had like the square pellets and it looked all like shit. The worst version of Pac-Man ever is the Pac-Man on the 2600. But we could do a whole separate podcast on the video.
But still, they have them playing an Atari.
Atari Dad says, to be fair, the apocalypse happened in 2010 before Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. So, and Cattigat showed up just in time. Cattigat's one of our newer subscribers that's been going back and listening to a lot of our older stuff from season 7 and previous. So lots of love to Cattigat. Thank you so much for checking it out. She loves your rants. She's watching an episode like last season that I liked and you hated. It was a lot of fun. a lot of good stuff going on. So in that short period of time where you were wearing your headphone mic in podcasts.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Anyways, so Negan's back, and let's listen to one last Negan speech for the episode, because we know it's not one last Negan speech forever. So let's get to this. Let's get to this shit, because I am yada-yadaing through all the shit with the Negan axis of not important, because I don't care about the back and forth between all of them. I really don't. Or I mean,
it's stupid. It's a continuation of the same scene from the beginning of the episode, only minus Negan. And when Negan shows up, it basically becomes the exact same scene as it was at the beginning of the episode.
Simon, are you fucking me over in my bum, Simon? Because I'm gonna have to kill you. Simon. So that was a horrible Negan. And so let's listen to the real guy.
A lot of you fine folks thought I was dead. Chewed up, never to be crapped out again. Well, here's a little refresher on who the hell I am. I wear a leather jacket, I have Lucille, and my nutsack is made of steel.
Oh, he's a poet and he didn't know it. Oh, it's like an Andrew Dice Clay joke there.
I'm not dying until I am damn good and ready. Now,
he's talking to you, Joe.
If y'all excuse me, I am in deep need of a sandwich, a shower, and some of that wilting lion orchid deep tissue shit.
So the lesson here, kids, is you can get away with anything if you're just apparently funny, even though I don't find him that funny. But like all these other guys, like all the saviors don't find Simon funny enough, I guess, because when Negan comes in cracking jokes, they're all like, oh, okay, all of our problems, the fact that most of our guys were killed and these people are attacking us and things look like shit. That's all right now. Negan's back. It's okay.
I know, right? Yeah, everything. Thank you, Negan. Thank God for you, Negan.
And yeah, that's what they're screaming out in the back. Someone goes,
I know you just killed my brother, Negan, but that's okay.
Frankie learned in San Francisco. Hell, I might do it all at once.
Oh, that's that thread a needle with your dick?
We have some serious business to attend to. I like talking to my right-hand man.
So yeah, and again, this is where the episode kind of, I think it should have ended, but it didn't. And then he takes him over. He goes over to Eugene. Eugene looks kind of scared. Then a bag comes on the table, and we need to find who the rat is. We have this whole
the bad news.
Another scene, Joe, like Joe was saying, a scene that we've gotten a million times already in this episode. Who's the rat? Who could be the rat? Negan asks how to find it out. Eugene's scared because he sees the paint in his thumb, and he starts to figure out.
No, it's not just.
Explain to me, Joe. Yeah, I was a little distracted.
They threw the bag on the ground. I don't know what bag it was, but there was a bag with something in it. I forget at this point what was in the bag, but there was
something to do with a bag and some shit
about the bag. And the bag had red paint on it. And it was the same color red paint that was on his thumb. But it was like these 3 tiny little fucking spots in like an old bag in the zombie apocalypse. Like so suspicious red. Like he put it all together now. And Dwight's because there's red on this bag.
Because he's a doctor. You can figure.
Because some chick, nail polish rubbed off or something. Like it just to draw that conclusion just from I don't even know where this bag came from all of a sudden, but somehow this bag is involved in the treachery of the saviors.
And somehow the bag and the paint led him to know, because of technobabble, that it's Dwight that's the rat. So then we go off to...
And he gives him the fucking stink eye right there at the table. Like, none of these evil motherfuckers aren't staring everybody down for some sort of tell or clue. And there's Eugene.
Joe, have you ever sat at a table, like a round table with like just 6 people? There was only 6 people there.
I've never played poker at a 6-man table, Phil.
You cannot, and you're telling me like you don't look at what every single person's doing in that moment, in that situation?
6 people at once. I may be staring at one person, but believe me, I am looking at everybody.
And for anything, we've led to believe that Negan probably could read a room well, at least of his underlings. So it's just ridiculous to believe that he wouldn't have seen this look. It's just
it's stupid.
It's stupid. It's an aside. It's like a television trope moment where it just takes you out of it, because it's like because if
like no bluff moment whatsoever. You notice that you keep your fucking head down
because they need to tell the audience that Eugene knows in that moment instead of just saving it for a better reveal when he tells them later. They need to show you in that moment and make it obvious. And it's like dumbing down. It's just calling your audience stupid is what it's doing.
This show has been so guilty of that since the dumpster, Phil. I mean, it happened before the dumpster too, don't get me wrong. But like time after time after time now, I'm finding myself being insulted by the writing. Not necessarily dialogue, but of the macro writing involved in this show. Even in the little things like that look. Like the Jesus Morgan fight, then Rick Daryl fight, yes, okay, this conflict exists. Do we kill them? Don't we kill them? Everybody's having this conflict. Come on now.
So we go off to Rick, who's walking, and he looks up, and we see, get to the chopper! Get to the chopper now! So is Rick hallucinating the chopper, or is the chopper really there?
The chopper's real. I don't feel like that's a hallucination thing. But
we're almost at the end of the episode here, so let me just finish this off. And so we go off to Eugene and Negan. Negan's like, listen, Dr. Smarty Pants, if you solve this shit, I will make you very happy. And if you try your best to figure it out and you don't, I'll kill you quickly so you don't have to deal with the shit storm when we run out of food and water. Get it? Then we go over to Rick, who meets up with the trash people. Then we go over to Gabriel and Eugene's trying to give him a pillow, knocking on the door, and he's like, let me in, and he doesn't. He just opens the door, and he's sick. He looks all sick and sweating. Gabriel's just shaking, looks sick. He's like, this is the reason, this is the reason, this is the reason. Maggie's doctor is there. He's like, Eugene says, I got to get you to the Dr. Carson, and Gabriel says, oh, Maggie's doctor. We have to get him out of here because Maggie's still pregnant, everybody. And she still needs help, apparently. So he says that he falls over. And that's the end of our episode, Joe. Amazing ending, right?
Well, the chopper. Can we talk about this chopper for a second?
For a while. Let's talk.
I don't know all the different makes of helicopters. I don't know what the average range is of a helicopter. But I know a helicopter can fly for 200-300 miles, right? No? Am I wrong about that?
Depends the
Can
fuel.
a chopper not fly from here to New York? Like from Boston to New York?
I'm ignorant, but that seems logical.
It does seem logical to me too. So we see a chopper in the sky, and it's obviously going to come into play in future episodes somewhere. But honestly, like, what's the big fucking deal? So somebody survived the zombie apocalypse that knew how to fly a chopper and picked one up 3 states away and is trying to fly somewhere safe. Why would it, like...
But doesn't that interest you because maybe they have a more interesting story there?
I hope so.
Maybe that chopper.
No, I'm not curious about
that
it.
chopper leads to a more interesting storyline.
There's a million explanations for the chopper, and I don't really care about any of them at the moment, except for the fact that it could get us out of this fucking
storyline. Yeah,
stagnant, stupid storyline.
We need to go to like Nebraska now. We need to see the zombie. We need to take the chopper and go to take the chopper now. So, we're not quite done yet. We're gonna go to the voicemail and the text line, and then take some live motherfucking chat here. So, all in all, this episode was not one of my favorite of the season. I know Joe. I'll let Joe talk about his feeling in a second, but ultimately, I know Joe's thinking it's probably all lateral around the same. I do think there have been some higher points this season. I actually really liked last week's episode from an acting standpoint. And again, I'm finding
The King was the acting that the King put out. Are you serious? You thought any of that was good acting? That was fucking horrible. That was horrible, horrible, horrible. I'm sorry, but big dude with the fucking axe. Horrible, horrible fucking acting. Carol phoned it.
Carol was horrible. Carol was horrible.
Not good acting. And the writing that led to whatever was acted on screen was just as fucking bad. The crazy guy that took the fucking king hostage, he was fucking horrible. Who cast him? Where the fuck did he come from? How does this guy have a job at all? Come on. There wasn't a single other producer aside from whatever producer you tapped on the shoulder and said, "Can we use your fucking awful fucking son as a speaking extra who's gonna fucking redshirt this episode?" There wasn't anybody else whose son wasn't doing anything that weekend. Come on. It was fucking horrible dick shit acting all the way around last episode with horrible dick shit fucking writing to go along with it.
So let's go to our first text message. And everybody, if you want to get in your comments right now and you have any comments to make, leave us a voicemail at 781-990-8509 or text on in or write in the live chat at me, and I will try to get to it here at the end.
Did I tell you too how much that was dick shit fucking writing?
So this is from Derek. Like the episode, not much stupid shit happened, and the acting was improved, in my opinion. By the way, fuck the trash people, kill them. Worst shit in The Walking Dead is the tiger and Beth. What's the worst shit for you? From Derek. Joe, what's the worst shit The Walking Dead ever did?
The tiger is in the dumpster.
I mean, it's hard.
Negan.
Do you think, and we talked about this before, is Negan all in the character the way it's written for you on the show, or is it in the casting? Could they have cast someone different and this would have been a whole different
longevity
story?
of it all? I mean, like I said, it reads so quick in the books that it's not even close to like the amount of Negan in the books would probably accumulate to maybe a 10-minute speech.
So you don't think it's
writing from Negan.
So you don't think it's actually about the acting or the casting of the role of Negan. See, I would still argue that if
part of it, there's other people that could have done this role much better
and I'd enjoy their screen time a little bit better.
I've seen Dylan Hunt do it.
It's funny. Dylan Hunt was up for the role of Negan. He was one of the people that was far along in the casting process, and he didn't get it, but he is going to be added to the cast of Fear the Walking Dead.
I read that, and
which means I might have to watch. Yeah, I might have to watch just for Gary Dylan Hunt because
I finished season 2, and I'm sorry, but yes, it may be better than this at that point, but that show still sucks too. Oh my god, season 2 was fucking horrible.
Joe, are you ready for a voicemail?
I am.
Okay, this is our voicemail from area code 732. Again, this is the time if you want to get one last voicemail in, but let's play our voicemail for the evening.
What's up, Phil? Joe? Kind of a standard, mediocre, garbage episode of The Walking Dead that we keep watching, that I keep watching, because if I don't watch it, then I can't watch your show, and I want to enjoy your show. So, I'm just calling to say that I was really disappointed with the failed communist revolution of the workers inside of the sanctuary. I don't understand why they all stood down because the guy can whistle.
Because one guy can whistle and the other guys can yell loud.
Hopefully this show stays as mediocre and doesn't get any worse. Because if it gets worse, then I won't be able to justify watching it to watch your show. So
that's what
that doesn't happen.
That's what that we hope that doesn't happen either. Excellent fucking call. That's what we're hoping for too. I agree that was my fucking one of the most ridiculous parts of the episodes, that they didn't keep up that frustration even when Negan showed up. Oh, so you're alive. What the fuck? This shit's happening. He should have had to kill somebody there to show his might and craziness.
Well, the chick already killed somebody to show the might and craziness of Negan. Because she was Negan, right?
Oh yeah, they're all fucking Negan. They're all fucking
Stupid.
Caddigat says season 3 of Fear is far better than this current season of The Walking Dead, in my opinion, even with its flaws. Ab says no trusting Gabriel after he snuck out of the bottom of the church, bringing Morales back, Tyrese being a bitch babysitting while Carol was TCB all the time. Talking about some of the worst things. Jazzy Gabriel says Dumpster was the worst. Vince Vaughn as Negan, as some people. What would you think of Vince Vaughn as Negan, Joe?
I think Vince Vaughn actually, he's like 6'2", 6'4", some shit like that.
He's a tall fucker. He's a tall fucker.
And he's big too. Like, he's not just tall, he's not lanky, he's wide. I think that would kind of have worked a little better for a Negan character. I would have rather have seen a much larger, imposing figure than what they gave us.
The other one that gets mentioned a lot is the John Hamm of it all.
See, I don't think John Hamm would have been good, but he's got the crazy eyes for it.
He could have played the funny stuff better. Like
played the funny stuff better, and he's got dead behind the eye crazy guy look to him. He really does. Like, watch Mad Men. I know you have. Like,
yeah, I have.
He's got that like crazy eye going. Resting crazy eye, right?
Resting crazy eyes, as we hear from the crow in the background. Jeffrey D. Morgan and John Hamm are the same height. Fear is improved with the 2 new showrunners. Fear could be better. Who knows? And I know they're going to be adding a Walking Dead character since past. There's rumors that Abraham might be added to the Fear the Walking Dead cast.
Oh, yeah. Season 2, I think, is better. Whoever said season 3 was better than this season currently.
Yeah.
I think season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead is actually better than this season and last season of Walking Dead. But that isn't saying much. It really isn't. Like, it's not hard to be better than what The Walking Dead is fucking feeding us right now. The only bright spots are the Rick and Daryl moments this season so far.
Now, Joe, we have a text message from area code 617. Well, thank you, fellow Massachusetts person from Massachusetts. Joe,
Bostonian, not just Massachusetts.
I agree with everything you say about The Walking Dead. Joe's always right. But is there anything you could think of that they could do once this Negan storyline is over with that could make the show interesting again to you? Or is the show basically just dead to you?
Well, the show's not dead to me. Here's the thing. I'm now 7 seasons invested. I'm going to probably keep watching as long as you and I keep doing this show. I don't mind shitting on something. It's only an hour of television time, and I'm hanging out with you, and I'm hanging out with the MFC, and that's fun for me. So it's worth it. Absolutely worth it for me. So the show is not dead to me. But what they could do to get better is stop treating us like we're idiots. Stop feeding us TV tropes that you've been feeding, that not necessarily you, but as The Walking Dead, but that TV has been feeding us. That's why they're tropes for decades now across all manners of television show. That it's really insulting to all of us that they think they can get away with this as being good television. What set you apart from it in your first 2 seasons was that you stayed away from those kind of tropes. Then you started getting, like, after season 2 and season 3, you started giving it to us, and then you gave it to us.
And you created an atmosphere that really created fear that any of the characters you love could go at any point in time. Al Red Sox fan says, Al Red Sox, great to see you, and thank you so much for doing that. So no one liked the Negan and Father Gabriel stuff. I liked a couple moments, like when Negan punched him, Joe liked. And Caddigat says the Gimple is so full of it. The 2 new showrunners will run fear as well as the new writers. Joe Steven says Joe's rants make the show worth watching. The show is like The Talking Dead, except actually honest. Al says Joe is correct. Ab says, amen, Joe, our fault because we watch it just to be able to come together and talk with good people. Hell, let's just pick subjects and come here without shows. I'm actually thinking about the transition of our podcast is going to turn into the Sunday night podcast, the Wednesday night podcast, and the Friday afternoon podcast. And they won't necessarily just be about shows, and they'll just be us doing a couple of reviews of a couple of different shows. I think that's the ultimate goal eventually of what we're doing. But we will always talk about The Walking Dead, and we'll always be on Sunday nights when The Walking Dead airs. But we might end up eventually doing a show that has a couple of different shows.
We might have to, because how many times can you say this sucked?
And yeah, exactly. And especially if it's going to go like 30 seasons or something like that, like they said. I don't want to wait. There's a lot of good shows that air on Sundays, Joe. You know,
there really are. But then we have to pick a time, and this is like the time that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like this is basically the Sunday starting around 10:30. That's a definite time that we'll always go back to and be like our go-to time. Then we'll have like a couple other times a week that it's like these are the times that we're on, and then we podcast about whatever the fuck we want.
What'd you watch this week? Podcast.
Exactly, or a movie review podcast or whatever. But that stuff we'll talk about at a different time. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You guys are fucking amazing. We really do appreciate it. Everyone in the live motherfucking chat, thank you tonight, and thank you to our super chat donator. Fucking crazy, amazing. And let's see the participants in the live chat still there. Atari Dad, Av, Cattigat, Paul, Steve, all of our good friends. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Joe, thank you so much. Joe will be back in a couple of weeks to talk about the penultimate episode of the season. But I'll also try to get Joe on here a couple of times before then to do maybe a Punisher review. I think what we're going to do for the Punisher review is do a Punisher / Stranger Things season 2 review where we talk about both shows in a spoiler fashion. And we'll also, Joe and I are going to be on pretty soon to do a couple of other random podcasts around the holiday. So if you haven't already, check out some of the places you can stay connected. Our Discord group where you can stay together and connect with all of the motherfucking chatters in some amazing fun. You can find the link to that in the description box below. Some of the mods that are in the chat right now might share some links to that. You can also find us on Google+, Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at IGetIssuesMan. Find Joe at Dirty Locks. Check out issuesprogram.com for some more stuff. Check out the podcast, all that sort of stuff. Check us out on Patreon for some bonus content every month. We haven't done our November bonus content, but last month's bonus content, you can watch me make a ziti ravioli or hear Joe really, really drunk screaming about some shit. Next week, we have a very special guest, someone I've never actually talked to live on a podcast, but I have heard his show, and he's very fucking funny. The Midnight Chat Attack here on YouTube. If you've never checked them out, definitely check them out. And Nick Diaz will be joining me next week to do the Walking Dead recap. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping for a real shitty. I'm hoping for a good episode for me and Nick to talk about. I'm really excited to get to talk to Nick, and definitely check out the Midnight Chat Attack. Nick is a fucking hilarious host, and there's a lot of really funny people on there. And that is a podcast that initially started as a fan thing to double toasted and expanded into their own thing, and a lot of really awesome stuff. So definitely check out next week for Nick, and then Joe will be back the following week, and then for the season finale, mid-season finale, The Walking David will be joining us. So, yeah, thanks, Al, Red Sox fan. I don't want to talk about it. All I was hoping for was a good game. Anyways, everybody, we'll talk to you next time. Later.
Peace.